When Emily opened her eyes, everything was white. No sound, no memory, only the rhythmic beeping of machines beside her. The smell of antiseptic filled her lungs, and light stabbed her eyes as if she had been asleep for a century. A nurse leaned over her, smiling softly. "Welcome back," she whispered, but Emily didn't know where she had returned from, or who she even was. When the doctor told her she had survived a terrible car crash, the words didn't feel real. She tried to remember what she was doing before it happened. Driving, working, talking, but there was only an empty space, like a book missing all its pages. Her mind was blank. Her voice cracked. "What's my name?" Her mother, sitting by her bed, began to cry. Her father's hand shook as he held hers. "Emily," he said softly. "Your name is Emily Turner." She repeated it in her head. Emily Turner, hoping it would unlock something. It didn't. Days passed. Doctors ran scans and tests, assuring her that her brain was healing. But no matter how hard she tried, her memories stayed locked away. She didn't remember her favorite food, her job, the sound of her own laughter. Even her reflection in the mirror looked like someone else's face. They called it retrograde amnesia, caused by trauma and shock. The doctors said the memories might return slowly, or not at all. Emily spent hours staring out the hospital window, watching strangers walk below, wondering who she had been before all of this. Was she happy? Kind? Loved? Her mother cried every time she entered the room. Her father avoided her eyes, pretending to be strong. But Emily could feel the tension, the weight of something left unsaid. One night, she whispered to her nurse, "It feels like I woke up inside someone else's life." The nurse smiled sadly. "Maybe that's your chance to start a new one." A week later, the door opened quietly. A man stepped inside, early 30s, messy brown hair, a cautious smile. He carried a small notebook and stood at the edge of the bed as if afraid to breathe. When Emily looked at him, her pulse quickened. Something about his presence felt familiar. He whispered, "Emily, do you remember me?" She frowned. "Should I?" He hesitated, then smiled faintly. "I'm Noah." The name echoed in her chest, tugging at something buried deep. Noah. It sounded important, like the name of a song she once loved but forgot how to sing. The doctor came in, assuming he was an old friend, and asked him to step outside. But before he left, Emily noticed a thin leather bracelet on his wrist, engraved with one word, Emily. That night, while tidying the table beside her bed, she found a folded piece of paper that must have fallen from his pocket. It said, "You promised me we'd always find each other, no matter what." Her hands trembled. Who was he really? A friend, a lover, a stranger who refused to let go. When her parents visited the next morning, she asked directly, "Who is Noah?" They froze. Her mother's face went pale. Her father looked at the floor. Her mother finally whispered, "He's someone from your past, a part you don't need to remember." That answer only fueled Emily's curiosity. If he was part of her past, why were they trying to erase him? That night, she borrowed the nurse's phone and began to search her name on social media. Thousands of results, but none with Noah. Then, she checked her own phone, cracked but functional. When she opened the gallery, there were photos of sunsets, coffee mugs, flowers, but no people. Until she scrolled back far enough, there he was. Noah, smiling beside her, holding her hand. She gasped. Her heart reacted before her mind did. That smile. She knew that smile. She found old messages too, dozens of them. "Please answer. I just need to know you're okay. I'll wait for you at the pier." Her throat tightened. She could almost hear his voice behind those words. When her nurse came in to check on her, Emily quickly locked the phone. She didn't want anyone to know she had started remembering, not with her mind, but with her heart. The next morning, she confronted her parents again. Her mother's hands shook. "Emily, please. The doctor said not to overwhelm yourself. You need rest, not more questions." Her father added sharply, "Noah isn't part of your future. Forget him." "But why?" she pleaded. "Who was he? What happened between us?" Silence. Her mother's eyes filled with tears. "Finally," she said, "he was the man you were supposed to marry. You ended it 3 months before the accident." Emily's world tilted. "Why did I end it?" Her father said nothing. Her mother whispered, "Because love isn't always enough." Those words haunted Emily for the rest of the day. She stared at the ceiling, wondering what kind of love was powerful enough to leave a mark on her soul, yet painful enough to be erased from her mind. Late that night, Emily couldn't take it anymore. She pulled out the note Noah had left behind. "You promised we'd always find each other." Her heart pounded. She got dressed, grabbed her phone, and slipped out of her hospital room. The hallways were quiet. Outside, the city lights flickered in the distance like stars that had fallen to earth. She ordered a cab and gave the driver one destination, the pier. The night air smelled of salt and rain. Waves lapped against the wood as she stepped onto the dock. There, under a flickering streetlight, stood Noah. He turned slowly. When he saw her, his face crumpled, part disbelief, part relief, part grief. "Emily," he breathed. "You came. I had to," she whispered. "Tell me the truth. Who were we?" He walked closer, his voice trembling. "We were everything. We met in college. You were studying art. I was writing music. We thought love could fix anything." He laughed softly through tears. "We were wrong. Sometimes love needs space to breathe." She listened, heart aching at a life she couldn't recall. He told her about their first date at a bookstore, how she spilled coffee on him and apologized for 10 minutes, about their road trips, their late-night talks, their dream to travel the world. Then his tone darkened. "You started working more. You stopped painting. You were tired all the time. We argued a lot. One night, you said you didn't recognize yourself anymore and then you left." A lump formed in her throat. "What did you do?" "I let you go," he said softly. "But I never stopped loving you." He pulled the notebook from his coat pocket, the same one he'd carried into her hospital room. He opened it to a page filled with sketches and small handwritten notes. Her drawings, his lyrics, promises scribbled in the margins. On the very last page were words written in her own handwriting. "If I ever forget who I am, remind me who we were." Tears blurred her vision. She whispered, "Then remind me." He took her hand gently. "I can't make you remember the past," he said, "but maybe we can build something new." They sat together for hours, the sea whispering beneath their feet. He told her stories until dawn, about their favorite songs, her silly laugh, how she hated thunderstorms but loved the smell of rain after. And with every word, something inside her began to stir. Not memories exactly, but feelings. Warmth, recognition, peace. Weeks passed. Emily returned home, though home felt different now. She moved slowly, learning her own life piece by piece. Noah visited often, never pushing, never demanding she remember, just being there. Sometimes, he'd hum songs they used to sing together. She couldn't recall the lyrics, but somehow, the melody felt like comfort. One day, as they walked through a park, Emily stopped by a rose bush and smiled. Noah looked at her curiously. "What is it?" "I don't know," she said. "But I think I used to love this smell." He smiled back. "See? Your heart remembers what your mind forgets." Every day, small pieces returned, not as flashes of memory, but as instincts, feelings, emotions that felt right. She started painting again, unsure why. Her brushstrokes were clumsy at first, but her hands seemed to know what to do. When Noah saw her first finished painting, a quiet pier at sunset, he couldn't speak. It was their pier, the place where she'd found him again. Months later, Emily invited her parents to her new apartment. She served tea and smiled, truly smiled, for the first time in months. Her father looked at Noah, uneasy, but saw the light back in his daughter's eyes. For the first time, he understood. Maybe remembering everything wasn't what mattered. That night, as Noah helped her clean up, Emily whispered, "I still don't remember everything. Maybe I never will, but I know who I am now." He asked gently, "And who's that?" She smiled. "Someone who got a second chance. Some memories never return. Some stories never get rewritten. But sometimes, the heart keeps its own record. One that no accident, no pain, no loss can erase. Because love, the kind that endures through storms and silence, doesn't need to be remembered to be real. And when the heart remembers what the mind cannot, that's when everything changes. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to The Day Everything Changed. Every week, we share stories that remind you that even when life falls apart, there's always a way back to love, to hope, and to yourself.